Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial. We're going to learn about scope. So there are three types here that I'm going to cover in this video. The first one is global scope. So what is a scope? A scope is the context where a variable is accessible. So for example, if I declare my variable in a certain context, I should access it easily. But in JavaScript, there are scenarios where if I define my variable in a certain scope, I may not access it in another different scope. To make it easy to understand, let's start off by the first scope. Now, the first scope is the global scope. Now, global means all over or outer or larger, or inclusive of everything. Now, a variable that is declared outside a function is known as a global scope. So for example, let's create a variable and call it let season. Let season be equals to winter. Okay. So let's have a variable here that defines a season of winter. Okay. Then let's create a function now that is known as find season. Okay. Then this function is going to have its code inside here. Now, the first thing we're going to do is try to access this variable here that is outside this function from inside the function of a find season. So let's log out our result there. And then let's try to find season. See whether can we access it from this place where it is before I say which place is this. So let's call the function. Okay. So we should expect the name winter in the console or an error in case everything is not working well. So let's run it. So it has executed, and as you can see, the answer here is winter. Now let me define something here. This variable has been defined outside this function of find season. Okay. Now, since it has been defined outside this function, we call it a global variable. Okay. So this is a global variable. Why is it called a global variable? Because it has been defined outside a function. Now, any variable defined outside a function can be accessed from within any function, meaning it can be accessed from anywhere, because if it's outside a function, but we can find it, or we can define it, or we can access it from inside a function, then it means it can be accessed from anywhere. Okay. Now, done with global variable, let's dive into a local scope. Okay. So let's define another variable here. Let's call it let new season. Let new season be. Now, other than winter, we have another season that is called spring. Okay, let's say spring. All right, so we have a new variable defined locally within the find season function. So let's try to console it out from inside the function locally where it has been defined. So we are trying to access it here. Let's access it there. Okay. Now I expect to find two seasons in the console log. Yes, and as you can see, we have spring and winter. Spring has been defined locally, and I'm accessing it locally. And then winter was defined globally, but can be accessed locally, because global variables can be accessed from anywhere in a function or anywhere in a program. Sorry, can be accessed from anywhere in a program. Okay. Now let's find one weakness of a local scope or a local variable. What if, first of all, let's find a way of accessing this variable from outside. Let's remove these console logs which are inside the function. Let me access this variable here that has been accessed globally. That has been defined globally. Let me access it from outside the function. So let me console log it out from outside the function, meaning I'm trying to find it from the globe scope. See whether can we still find it. Yes, we can still access it because it's a global variable. Now let's try to access a local variable from a scope that is not local. And in this case, this scope is global. So let's try access this variable that is defined locally inside the function. Okay, try to run. Yes, and you see we pump into an error. Okay, what does this error say? The error says new season is not defined. Why? Because we can only access a local variable from a local scope. So trying to access it from outside the function means we have gone overbound its scope, meaning it is not defined from this area here or from this region. It's only defined inside this region that is enclosed in these curly braces. Okay, so local variables are only accessed locally, but global variables can be accessed anywhere in the program or can be accessed globally. All right, now let's go to the that scope, that is the block level scope. Okay, now let's say inside our local scope we want to create another additional scope. For example, a conditional here, an if conditional that says if. Okay, so let me add another variable here and say let which season do we have? Also another season, let's say fall. Okay, or autumn. So let me say let another season be fall. Okay, so we come inside here and say if another season, okay, is equal to true, or if even if I say if another season and end it there, it could be a true statement that could be true. So if another season, and then we console log something. So if there's another season, then that season must be season fall. Okay, we want to console log there and say if another season. So in fact, allow me to change this logic a bit. Okay, yes, let me just say if another season, and then where I defined another season and make it to be true so that it's a true statement. Yes, so if there is another season, then we want to console log that season. So what is the season? Let me define it. If there's another season, let's define it. Let's give it another name. So let season. So I'm repeating this name, even if it's not good. So let season be. The best practice is not repeating variable names for better readability. So let's say let I said new season already, so let me say later season. Okay, let later season be fall. Okay, so let's log out now fall. Console.log. Then let's give it that variable name later season. Okay, so you only have one console log here. So we are saying here, if there is another season in our program, which in this case is true, let us have a variable that will define that function and call it log from the variable later season. So let's log it out. Okay, yes, we have it here. Fall is in the output or in the console log. Okay, now remember this variable here has been defined only inside the if statement. Now I want us to try and access it from just inside the function, not outside, inside the function, but outside the block level of if statement. So let's have console.log and then access later season there. Okay. And if you are keen, you can see already there's some 3 dots below the letter L here, which could give a signal that something is wrong somewhere. So let's run it. Yes, and as you can see, they have said that later season is not defined, and that error is coming from line 13. Okay, so from this line here, this variable later season is not defined, even if it's inside the function, or even if it seems to be local, but it's outside the block level scope. Okay, so block level scope is a scope that only works inside a certain specific block. Okay. So I hope those 3 scopes are clear. The first one is a global scope. Global scope is the scope that is accessible anywhere in our program. The second one is local scope. And the local scope is only accessible locally or from within the function where it has been defined. Third scope is the block level scope that is accessible from inside the block that it has been defined. So if you have any question, you can feel free to ask in the comment section, or if you have a gratitude message, you can say it from the comment section also, and keep sharing these videos if you got help so that you can help a friend. So thank you. See you in the next video.